Hey Tiny Dreamer friends, how are you? This week's video is going to be about my books. I got another request about what books I gave up as opposed to what books I kept. Now, all of my videos are mostly informative to the tiny house community, but once in a while I'll throw out a video that other people want to see or know about my journey. It is, after all, Tiny Dreamer. That's the name of my channel, so anything that has to do with Tiny Dreamer, not all of it's going to be informative. Like the video on my emotional journey. I really didn't promote that one or anything, or like post it on social media, because I don't know if anybody really wants to see my emotional journey, even though that was actually a request as well. I'm going to take you through my books. You'll see pictures of the old books because I don't have them anymore, and then I'll show you topics of the new books and explain a little bit why I kept them. One thing that I want to say in the beginning is that I am a huge self-help person. 2 or 3 sets of books that I used to have were fiction. I write fiction, but I don't really read fiction. I find self-help books and resource books and reference books a lot more beneficial, and I'm constantly trying to find knowledge through them. If you have a book on hand, it's a lot easier to just thumb through it rather than having to find your phone and look up a piece of information. I have about 10 different book topics, and just bear with me because I decided to keep a lot of some of them because still, like, it's an addictive personality. That's what happens when you're a hoarder and you collect a bunch of stuff. You end up saving all of these books. I took them off of the bookshelves and I took them off up there as well. So I'm gonna get started in explaining my books, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. Before I went tiny, I pretty much suffered with anxiety. A lot of the books that I had were self-help books on how to get rid of anxiety, depression, panic attacks, and stuff like that. The books that you see here are to help me with communication, talking to people better, nonviolent communication, so that my delivery is better. I don't want to have to pay a doctor all the time to fix my problems, so I just found it cheaper to buy a bunch of books. It's working, but before I went tiny, I did go see a therapist for about a year, and I did get over most of my anxiety. I'm just working on how to try to get over it still. Pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, that's what these books do. That's what the therapy did. He or she pushes you out of your comfort zone, and you have to kind of deal with the situations and face them head on. If I did not have these books or that therapist to help me, then I would still have the anxiety and I might not have been able to go tiny. So, my relationship books. I am not in a relationship. When I buy these relationship books, I want to learn how to be a better girlfriend for whoever I'm going to be with. And if that means trying to read a book to relate to them, such as The Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, it helps. It's actually my favorite relationship book. It told me and taught me how to relate to the opposite sex. It also teaches you how to relate to the same sex. It just teaches you both how to relate to both of the sexes, and both sexes can learn how to relate to their own sex and the opposite sex. And I also bought Men, Women, and Relationships, Making Peace with the Opposite Sex, and then I also bought Mars and Venus, Starting Over. That's for when you have a breakup and then you need to start over and don't know how to do it. These are a couple books that I find really helpful in making my relationships better. And it's one reason why I'm not in one, because I don't want to settle for people who are going to treat me any certain way, or, like bad ways. I just decide not to be with them. The other 2 books I'm going to show you are poetry books from Instagram authors. They're poetry. They kind of teach you how to survive after a relationship and what not to put up with from the opposite sex or anybody who you're dating. Let's move on to the next topic. Getting Real is actually my favorite book ever. I love this book so much because I used to be a liar from age 18 and up. I don't lie, I don't cheat, I don't steal. This book actually helped me get over doing that. 10 Truth Skills You Need to Live an Authentic Life by Susan Campbell, PhD. One of the reasons it's my favorite book is because it gives you real advice on how to be real. A lot of the things in here you're not going to want to read, but if you practice this stuff, you're going to be honest. You're going to start to be honest with the people around you and yourself. Instead of when someone says, "How do you like my hair?" And instead of saying, if you don't like it, instead of saying, oh, it looks really great, and then you're like, no, I just don't like it. Why would you lie to yourself, and why would you lie to that other person? Just say, it's okay, it's just not for me. It looks cute on you, but it's not something that I would wear. You're still being authentic with yourself, you're being authentic with them, and they're going to appreciate you more for being honest with them. Instead of being fake to other people and lying to everybody, telling them what they want to hear and just putting on this big story and this facade, be real. Just be real. I've recommended this book to significant others. They hate me for it because they think I'm pushing the book on them. Some people just don't want to read stuff like this, and I want somebody to be open-minded enough to either not lie or learn not to lie. I learned not to lie, and now I feel like I'm the most honest person in the world. These are great books, and I would recommend them to anybody. Next topic. Yep, you guessed it. This is one of the fiction books that I loved. I bought all 3 of these books. A friend of mine borrowed the other 2 books, and I have yet to see them, and it was a male. I loved these books. As you could tell, I am not done with it because I'm freaking exhausted. And ladies, I'm sure you can understand why. Yeah, this is one of my favorite fiction books. The other favorite fiction book that I have is Twilight, and I read the entire series. Because I read all of them, I still sold them. As far as these books, the guy is borrowing the other 2, and I don't know if I'll ever get them back, but all I really have to do is read the rest of this, and then I can sell this one too. Ladies or men, if you guys are looking for an exciting sexual thriller, get the 50 Shades of Grey books because they're really, really good. Enjoy! Because I have a small business called Goddess of Herbs, you can find the link down here. It's all handmade stuff. When you have a handmade business, you're not in a storefront, you're not selling your items out there in the world, but you're doing it online and you're doing it at craft shows. It's good to read on and use your self-help books for what kind of profit can be made. What can I do to better my handmade product? What can I do to better that handcrafted product that I want to sell for money? I purchased a couple books just to reference them in order to find out how you're going to go about doing your business. The Handmade for Profit book has hundreds of secrets to success in selling arts and crafts. I picked up some handy tips, and if I ever want to make more money from it, the experiences that the people describe in the books can help you do just that. The next topic, philosophy, psychology, psychotherapy, sociology, science, psychology and how the brain works and how the body works and how everything's put together. There's also an abnormal psychology book that I have, which is so cool because it teaches about diseases and the different psychological ways that people try to trick doctors. It's so fascinating. I borrowed a couple books from my cousin on sociology, so that one's a little bit newer to me. They're learning books and they're slightly self-help books, and they're just basically learning about all of the philosophers and different ways of life and cultures and all of that. So I freaking love all of those. My survival handbooks or DIY books. I don't have much money and would rather try to do stuff on my own first rather than hire somebody. I'm gonna try to do it on my own. So I have the household hints and tips. If I stain the carpet, I don't want to hire a carpet cleaner. I don't want to have to get a steam cleaner. If there is a household product that I can use, like nail polish remover or something simple to get a stain out of a carpet, I'm gonna learn it from that book. Second book that I have for survival is the Complete Worst Case Scenario Survival Handbook. I live in a campground. What if I got poison ivy? How do you take care of poison ivy without having to go to the doctor or whatever? I kept that book just in case something were to happen out in the wild and I don't know what to do about it. I don't think I'm going to be bringing that book when I go places, so it'd be a good idea for me to read the stuff now, learn about it, or even write down notes, what I would do if I was in those situations. Oh my God. You okay? He almost fell again. What the labels won't tell you. They're books about what they don't tell you. It tells you about how prescription medicines, what it does to the body, the FDA and everybody who tries to regulate those drugs doesn't tell you. Best kept secrets in America, same thing. Things in America that are not told, like on the news, or what they don't want you to know about what's put in foods and medicines and drugs, what labels won't tell you. I want to read about those because I don't feel that it's right for the FDA to put out foods that are bad for you and certain things that are bad for you. So I want to read resources on what can help me not fall into those traps, like fall into the FDA traps. These are kind of things that I want to know. As most of you may know, I am a pagan, so I consider myself a witch. It's not a religion, it's a spirituality. I don't believe in God. So that book, The 100 Myths of the Bible, my cousin let me borrow that. And again, another fascinating topic because I want to know what's said in the Bible. I'm not a Christian, a Catholic, Protestant, Lutheran, none of that. I do want to learn about other religions, hence the book that I have of the Oxford Dictionary of World Religions. There are over 700 religions in that book, and some people think that their religion is the only one out there. I disagree. I bought these books in order to help teach me about all of the religions that are out there in a world where we need to kind of coexist. We all live together. We all breathe the same air. You practice what you practice. I'll practice what I practice. I'm going to study about the other religions. I want to see what they're about. I want to see if they're like mine. I want to see if they're like each other. It's just a fascinating topic to me. Idiot's Guides. I used to actually have more Idiot's Guides. Right now I think I only have 3 or 4 Idiot's Guides. I have an Idiot's Guide to Journaling because I'm a writer, the Idiot's Guide to Handwriting Analysis because I find that fascinating as well, and then the Idiot's Guide for Healthy Relationship. They're straightforward books. They tell you just a ton of what you need to know about that topic, which is very informal to me. I like them. I think my cats distract me. I love them so much. Who's playing cute? What is he doing? Oh. Hey, don't hiss! Alright, back to books. My herbal books. My small business, which again, you can find the link down there, is made up of herbs. It's an herbal business. I reference these books or Google or just online when I need an herbal remedy, when I need to mix certain herbs together. They're really cool because it's natural healing. I'm going to try to use these books to get to the root of the problem. Next, we're going to talk about my healing books. They are herbal books, but they're more about natural medicine as opposed to just herbs. There's also magnesium and salts and stuff that you can use that's not herbs, but it also has herbal stuff in it. I reference these books when I make my medicine or make natural personal products at home or just DIY products around my house. I used to have about 50 to 70. I have about 15 left. I had to go through each one of them and see which ones of the 70 that I preferred to keep. Most of them are like organic, nutritional, natural healing. I have vegetarian books because I'm a vegetarian. That's recently, so about 6 months in. Canning books, even how to take care of like a thyroid diet, cancer prevention diet, the magnesium miracle. So these are all just natural healing books for your best health. This was my random book section. Didn't really have a topic to any of them, but oh look, there's Rome's. You join us? Well, hi. What are you doing in there? These are just the random books. No topic, really, just random. Right? I also kept some books that had to do with the history of the world, American nation, just American history in general. I also kept a book that had to do with Weird Illinois. I found it a fascinating book just because each state has their own quirks. I also went to the Art Institute in Chicago, and there is a book on the little houses. They're little rooms, and there's hundreds of little rooms decorated with all these itty-bitty little things. It's really a fascinating book. I also have a National Geographic that's 100 Greatest Mysteries Revealed. Everything that happens in the world, all those things, I think is fascinating, and if you have a piece of information that describes that, it's kind of like put in one of those vaults. I'll show you a couple other things that I saved, like the 9/11 newspaper, when the Bulls won the World Series. So just world events that are happening, books that I reference for my witchcraft as well. I have spell books and palmistry books and tarot books. I have a book on how to get married the pagan way, which is called hand fasting. Books on Sabbats. I have books on chakras. I have books on just drawing down the moon and magical herbs and all of that. Those books I reference when I'm doing my spirituality and working with that stuff. If I need to reference a spell or an herb or a recipe on how to make some things. And then of course my astrology book. I'm also into dreams, but I don't think I kept any of my dream books because I figured, hey, I could reference Google. But people in my family have Nooks and these Kindles, and I just don't want to carry around another electronic device to store stuff in. So I want to read a book, I want to write in it, I want to like highlight in it, and I want to reference them whenever I want. And a lot of technology crashes, so it's weighing ups and downs of either one on if you should get rid of all your books when you go tiny or create storage for them. And that's what I did. Plan to have the storage for those 400 or the 100 books that I kept. Once I read these books, I can bring more books in, but until they go, I'm not going to bring any more books in. This is my book of shadows, and I decided to keep this too because it's just what I did years and years ago, studies and stuff and collecting herbs. I don't even reference this anymore because I know all the information in it, but it's there just in case I wanted. It's all the basics of paganism, basically. Right, Rox? I also dabble in Buddhism along with paganism. I try to strive to be better at communication, right speech, right thinking, right living, different ways that you can apply these things to your life to make it better. I'm not perfect with it. I swear, so that right speech would say that you shouldn't swear. But these books help me with my spirituality, kind of in essence with the paganism, because it kind of all ties in together. When I read these books, I'll probably give them up as well, and then either bring more books in or have more room for storage. So I do have dictionaries, a psychic dictionary and a regular dictionary. You know what, to be honest with you, as I was about to do this video, I thought, why do I need a dictionary? I use dictionary.com on my phone. Yes, I use my phone. I used to use the dictionary all the time. Whenever I would read a book or watch something online and I didn't understand a word, I would look it up right away. Didn't want to read something and just pass over the word and not understanding the meaning behind it, so I would look up the words. The psychic dictionary just explains what all the different kind of psychic stuff is. Point of focus and firewalking, body reading, ceremonial magic, channeling, and all that kind of stuff. I used to have a book called Psychic Skills. It was an excellent book. So there are things that you can do to develop those skills. And I learned a couple things, so I decided to just give up the book. I told you about my fascination and wanting to learn about the body. This Human Body book is basically about, it says an illustrated guide to its structure, function, and disorders, and then Body World. There is a show called Body World. The guy will take dead bodies, use some kind of solution to burn out around certain things. The most fascinating one to me is the veins. So what he did was burned out everything but the veins. Thousands and thousands and thousands of just red veins, and everything around the veins was burned out by this solution. I'm going to show you a little bit of what's in this book just to show you how cool it is, and if you guys ever get a chance to see this exhibit, please go see it. So this is what he does. Hope this doesn't gross you guys out. But people will go and look, and then he'll like form them in the sky. There's babies. There it is. It's so freaking cool to me. There was a pregnant mother, and then you can see the baby inside, and you see the horse probably died too. Split the guy in three to show you. Look at that. So the guy burned out everything but the veins. Blood runs through that, and I don't know how he did it, but this is some science here. Look at that. The detail. about my crystal books. And I had about 5 to 10 different crystal books. They all say the same thing. I kept the best 2. I don't reference them right now. After I get done with my house and all the repairs and stuff, then I will start referencing them again. I had a friend who let me have 2 of these Bibles. Even though I'm a pagan, pagans are very open-minded. They want to learn about tons of different things, and although we don't practice anything in the Bible, we still want to know about it. We still want to learn about it. I have not read these 2, and I have not picked mine back up after page 100. Every time I meet a Christian or Catholic or somebody who believes in God, I ask them questions about the part that I'm hung up on. But I still respect all religions, and even though I don't practice them all, I want to read about them, I want to learn about them, and that's why I still have these 3 Bibles. That was really helpful for me to take off all of those books, and I actually got to rearrange them all back in there. You might remember these books from my video, The Emotional Journey of Letting My Stuff Go. All of these books represented all the stuff that I was explaining before. I just had multiples of all these books. A lot of the books that you see I have already read, so I was able to let them go. Some of them I had since childhood. Some of them I had used so much that I didn't need anymore. And a lot of them were actually duplicates of a lot of the books that I've kept. So let's say, for instance, my health books. I had about 50 health books, and they all basically say pretty much the same thing. There's different authors and they write different ways and stuff, but if you are reading an herbal book, it's most likely that all the herbs that are in one book are going to be in the other book. So that is why I gave up a lot of the books that you see here. It wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. I can always get them again, and you know what? After I read the books that I have here now in my house, I could exchange them if I want and replace them. So I'm kind of living a different way, and I'm loving it. So I hope you guys enjoyed my book journey, and I will see you in the next video.